Hello YouTube. This is Balor Mage again. This is the end of day one, Settlers of Kalguur. I got a few things that are important. Before we jump into the important things, let's talk about my absolute abysmal decision-making power and what I decided to do, which was start Popcorn SRS. Now, why was that a problem? Popcorn SRS is actually fantastic and feels really good if you're mid-pace or lower to progress. When I was like on level content, it felt fantastic. If I was slower and I got more levels and more power before I tried to take on higher content, probably would have kept feeling fine. However, that ain't me. So I tried real hard to jump into the highest maps I possibly could, and it did not handle it at all. It was much slower, far too awkward, and I stuck with it for far too long. So for me, it means it was probably one of the roughest league starts in terms of progression that I have ever had. I do not have a watchstone. That is the end of a 20-hour stream, although about 3 of those hours were before league start, so that's still 17 hours, and I do not have a watchstone. So that's rough. What I wish I'd done is follow my own plans, the ones I gave you guys to start Holy Relic, to just level as hit and then into poison with SRS, not the popcorn variety, and just transition into Holy Relic either at Merc Lab or early maps. I would have had a way better time. I should have done the plan that I already knew was good, the one that I sent all you guys, but silly me, I made mistakes, didn't do that. So the last 2 hours or so of my stream, we finally made a very scuffed transition over into Holy Relic, and we have been blasting ever since, and it is fantastic. So that being said, there's not really much to say about it. My build is incredibly scuffed. It's not even worth looking at the path of building. We will quickly go over where I'm at and why I'm struggling so much, but there is something I need to point out first that is really important because a ton of people don't know it. So let's jump into game. So here we are in game. Now, one of the most important things that most builds need, and especially either of my builds, but also just a ton of others, is your trigger craft. Everybody wants this trigger craft. Trigger socketed spells when you use a skill within 8 seconds. Used to be an unveil. Never mentioned anywhere in the patch notes that I saw, but it actually comes from the refinery in Act 9 now. So if you don't have it, or you aren't finished the campaign yet, or you've been hunting it wishing you had your craft, go back and pick it up from the refinery. It's just there. When you go, there'll be a small grate on the floor, like a sewer grate, and it's glowing a little bit. It doesn't show up on the minimap. So just run around, look for the grate. There might be a set of rules for where it can spawn. As far as I can tell, there isn't any, but it's brand new. So yeah, run in there, grab your trigger craft. Fantastic. Okay, next thing. Why is my build so scuffed? Well, I just don't have any money. Just before I started this video, I made 2 5C sales. So I've got 20C now, and I used to have 10 just a second ago. I've got no divines, no exalts, barely any of the what do you call this, gumball currencies, barely any chromes left, not even enough to set my links up properly. I can't fit in an animate guardian. My raised specters only have 2 links. I didn't have enough chromes to set up whirling blades instead of shield charge. My weapon doesn't have attack speed. I'm only on a 5 link. Everything about this build is pretty goddamn scuffed right now, and it is still absolutely blasting. As soon as I changed over to Holy Relic, this really scuffed gear just absolutely blasting. So I am not going to have any problems. Come tomorrow when I wake up, we will catch up. We will make up for the deficit that we've done. We will get extra jewels and finish our stuff up. This is technically our path of building for today. I'm scared to even share it with people because the end of day one was abysmal for me. We do all know the path of building tooltip for Holy Relic is wildly off, so it isn't 200,000, but it's still not high. It's still not high. I can tell it's not high. There are several problems. One, all of my chance to poison comes off this 40% chance to poison there, and I have one jewel with 13% chance to poison there, and that's it. I have an empty jewel socket here because I couldn't afford a jewel to put in it. I have the world's worst cluster that I alt-regal rolled myself on a low, on a low item level base because that's all the money I could afford to spend. So starting tomorrow, what we will do is we will get 3 more passive points, which I will probably pull from either here because this isn't part of the build, or here because this isn't part of the build, and we'll grab 3 jewels with poison chance on them. That'll help us a lot. The other thing I'll do is fix my ranking as quick as I can so that I can be immune to freeze, because right now I'm running Purity of Elements, which I don't even need the res for. I'm just doing it because it's freeze immunity, and I couldn't even afford to buy one of the vessels for branking, so I wasn't going to put up with that. So that means I'm not running a damage aura either. I have determination and Purity of Elements and temper shield. So I've been running no offensive auras and no poison chance and scuffed gear, and honestly everything's kind of fine. But yeah, like I said, slow progression. We've only got 44 maps done. We died a lot when we were playing the SRS version. We did manage to do a pretty quick, using the Kirak maps, we did manage to do a pretty quick skip through into some red maps. So hopefully I can get the first 2 watchstones really early. But otherwise, moving on to the League. The League, this has been absolutely fantastic. If you've been avoiding this, or if you're just leveling, stop avoiding this. There's a few things that are going to be really important that I think people have missed, or at least people from my chat have undervalued. First of all, almost all of my town progression starts over in this corner. We're doing either mining things or farming things, and this feeds into basically everything for the rest of the town. All your upgrades, all your everything. So the very first thing that I would be doing if I could start this again would be making sure I get this upgraded as best as I can and this upgraded as best as I can, and staffing them, because if you can get a lot coming in here, you'll have a really good time doing the rest of your base. I have currently got an enchanter running, or a disenchanter running, and those things, and a smelter. I'm gonna be honest, I've just been building my town mostly. I have barely been using the ship, so I plan to use the ship a bunch tomorrow, but I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. You definitely need to get involved. Unfortunately, since I've just been building and mostly struggling with my build, I haven't got to experience enough of this yet. So hopefully I'll have more information on that tomorrow. That is all for the day 1 update. I am tired. I'm going to bed. It's been a long day. I will see everybody tomorrow. Goodbye.